Hey guys, so today we are going to focus on the travel nursing contract. So I'm going to give you real examples of contracts, that way you'll be familiar with what they look like. Just like they say in nursing all the time, if you didn't chart it, you didn't do it. It's the same way with the contract. Your recruiter may tell you so many amazing things that you're going to get or how things will be. Well, if they didn't write it down and you both didn't sign on it, sorry to say, but the conversation never happened. Okay, so this is contract example number 1. On that top left, it'll show you which department you'll be working in. Make sure the department is correct. Make sure underneath that the scheduled hours a week are correct, that it is full-time hours if you are working full-time. Make sure the shift is the correct shift. If you're working day shift or night shift or mid shift, make sure that is correct. Under that, you'll see where it said the facility name, all of that stuff. Make sure that that is all correct. The uniform, it'll always mostly say to be determined. They don't really tell you until you talk to the manager most of the times. To the top right, you'll see the length of the assignment. Make sure that's correct. Make sure it says 12 weeks or 13, or that it's not saying 26 or something that you don't know of. Make sure that that start date is correct. Sometimes they will have a completely different start date and you're like, what in the world? That is 3 weeks later than what you told me. So make sure that start date and end date. Sometimes they'll try to add on some extra time on there. Do the math. Calculate how long 12 or 13 weeks is and make sure it adds up, that that end date is correct. On the bottom, it starts to go into the hourly rate. If you didn't watch my video about travel nurse housing and pay, this goes into more detail also. All right, so let's scroll down and look further on this first page of this same contract. So those callback hours, of course, that'll be applicable if you work OR or somewhere, cath lab or something where they actually will call you back. But underneath there, you'll see your per diem meals and incidentals, and if that's based if you work your 36 hours that you're contracted. So if you don't work all the hours that you say you're going to work, that will be less than what it says on there. And then on the bottom, you'll see the travel allowance, the last thing. This particular agency gave $600 no matter how far you were going. It'll be $300. They give you half and half, so $300 when you get there. And then upon completion of the assignment, they'll give you the extra $300 at the end. And that does not matter how far or how close you are going, which some agencies do it differently, which we'll take a look at on the next contract. Okay, so this contract is with a different agency, and I like this contract because it is a lot more detailed. It has all the same things at the top. The facility name, the shift, the duration, all of that stuff is still the same at the top, but then it breaks down the pay by the day. So that's cool. So I'll zoom in so you can see better. Okay, so if you look to the bottom of the contract, you will see where it talks about lodging allowance, meals and incidentals, and then your hourly rate. So the lodging allowance only you will get if you do not take their housing. So this means that you will be finding your own place to stay. If you get the lodging allowance, that's $98.90 a day. If you stay a week, in 1 week, you should be getting about $692 according to this for your housing allowance. Meals and incidentals are at $55 a day, which equates to $385 a week. So if you add the $385 a week with the $98.90, which is the $692 a week, you are getting $1,077 a week in pay just off of your stipends. And like I said in my previous video, you do not get taxed on the stipends. So that is a guarantee of $1,077 a week off your stipends. So then you go up a little bit where you'll see the regular hourly rate at $20 an hour. If you're working about 36 hours a week, which is full time, you'll get about $720 a week, and that does get taxed on. So now if you take that off, you will be getting somewhere around, let's say, $500 after taxes, give or take. So if you add the $500 to the $1,077 that you're already making in stipends, you're looking at $1,577 a week. On the bottom, it says $3,000 a month. Where in the world did they get that from? Because if you're making $1,500 a week, you should be making $3,000 in 2 weeks. Where in the world do they get a month from? That's what I'm saying. As you can see here, it is incorrect. Read your contract. All right, and then go to the right and you will see very important information. This one, the travel reimbursement on this one is not the full $600 if, it all depends on how far you're coming from. Their mileage is calculated 30 cents per mile. The maximum they'll give you for the entire assignment is $600, but if you're coming from shorter, you may not get the entire $600. So they'll calculate it by the mile. And then this one gives you an onboarding bonus of $50 if you just started with this, if this was your first time going with this agency. Listen, any bonuses they give you, there will be certain hospitals that will give you a completion bonus. Make sure that that bonus is on your contract. I have done an assignment for a completion bonus and it was not on my contract. I was like, I need you guys to put that on there. Make sure any bonus is on that contract because they will not give it to you if it's not on that contract. Really pay attention. Look at the second dot. It says missed shift charges of $359.10 may be assessed when you do not work the expected number of shifts. That is super important. So you are contracted to work at least 36 hours a week. Say you get sick and you do not go in one day. Big problem, because now you're not working your 36 hours a week. Now they will charge you that almost $400 fee for pretty much breaking your contract of not abiding by that 36 hours a week that you promised. How do you go around that? Well, if you were supposed to work on Monday, you got sick on Monday, try to make it up throughout the week. Try to come in on Tuesday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday, whatever day that you were not scheduled to work. Try to come in another day to make up for it, because if you don't make up for that week, they will charge you that fee. Not only will they charge you that fee, but you won't get paid a lot of those other things, because those other things are based on daily. Those stipends are based on you getting those full stipends based on the fact that you're working those 36 hours a week. So your entire pay will just be all jacked up and you'll be getting fined. So make sure you read that. Right above that, you'll see approved time off. If you need any time off, if you have a scheduled vacation, even if you have a doctor's appointment on a certain day, whatever it may be, request that off. Don't think to yourself, well, maybe I can just swap with someone that day. If you know you need January 28th off, go ahead and request for January 28th off, because if they're short that day, your manager may still make you work that day, and you can say, oh, well, I have something scheduled, and it's like, well, it's not in your contract for you to be off. And then if nobody wants to swap with you, you're going to be screwed. So if you have any pre-existing plans, days that you want off, make sure that you put it in your contract so that it will be approved. And if they try to make you work on those days, you're like, nope, sorry, can't work those days. It's in my contract. Boom. Okay, so the last contract we're going to look at is a renewal contract. Sometimes your contract finishes and you say, you know what, I want to stay here a little bit longer. And so after 13 weeks is over, you have to sign another contract saying you're going to stay for another 4 weeks or another 6 weeks or a whole another 13 weeks, however long you decide to stay. When you do this second contract, this is another opportunity for you to get everything you want again. Many times if you stay and you extend, we call it an extension. If you extend, they may decide to pay you more. If you decide that you need certain time off during your extension, okay, well, I'm going to stay, but now I do not want to work any weekends, or I cannot work on Saturdays, or whatever the case may be. When you extend, sometimes you can bribe for a little bit more because you've already been there. They want people to extend. So, take a look at your extension contract and make sure it has everything in there that you want. All right, guys, so that's all to the contract. Do not be intimidated by the contract. You can break your contract under certain circumstances. Typically, if you feel like your license is in jeopardy, if you feel unsafe at the hospital you are at, talk to your recruiter. Let them know that you feel very unsafe. There are always loopholes you can get through. Just be very, very open in communication and honest with your recruiter. And they will, if they're a good recruiter, should be looking out for you and give you the terms to break that contract. Make sure to look through all the fine prints and just know what you're getting yourself into before you sign it. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss the next one. Thanks, guys.